breaking news that's coming in this morning from Sri Lanka, where President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has now left the country on a military jet and arrived in Male, the capital of Maldives. Last night, a jet landed in capital Male, carrying President Gotabaya, 5 family members and 3 staff members. He'd earlier conveyed a message to the Speaker and the Prime Minister that he would be submitting his resignation today. So this development looks like it's going in accordance with that. As per protocol, he needs to send the resignation to the Chief Justice of Lanka and send a copy to the Prime Minister as well as the Speaker of Parliament. So big development coming in. All this while, there was no update on the whereabouts of Gotabaya Rajapaksa. It's now been confirmed that he's left the country. Earlier, some of his aides had confirmed that he hadn't left Sri Lanka just yet, but now we know that he is in Maldives. Ashutosh Mishra is joining us with more details on this. Ashutosh, good morning. The protesters, civilians who've been, camped to the presidential palace will be happy with the news coming in that Gotabaya Rajapaksa will be submitting his resignation today.
Well, this is just a twist in the political developments unfolding in Colombo. Akshita, good morning to you and all the viewers. Yes, last evening only we have the intel and input that the president is now negotiating that before resignation, he wants a safe passage for him and his staff. And that was perhaps denied, and there was negotiation and thinking within the opposition and of course certain ruling party members as well. But what we heard that late night AN-32, an Air Force jet that landed at Male, which is the capital of Maldives, carrying 5 family members of Gotabaya Rajapaksa and 3 close staff within the government. And now all eyes are on whether he is sending the resignation to the Chief Justice and marking the copy to the Speaker and the Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, because that's the protocol. And clearly the people have been warning here that until and unless President resigns, they won't vacate the presidential palace, Prime Minister residence and presidential secretariat. In fact, certain appeals are also being made to the protesters to vacate these places and hand over to the authorities for the transition in the regime. But clearly this comes as a setback also because day before yesterday, when Basil Rajapaksa, the former finance minister and the younger sibling of president, who was trying to flee to United States via Dubai, was stopped by the immigration staff and even the airport staff at the Silk Route VIP corridor at Colombo International Airport. And that perhaps, and also in the meanwhile, there was also PIL filed in the Supreme Court that says to stop Rajapaksa family from leaving the country. And perhaps anticipating the threat, Rajapaksa put this negotiation to the opponents that first give me safe passage with the family and only the resignation comes. So today is very crucial day and finally President has left. Remember, we have been having information that on 9th July, following the protest via the safe tunnel, he was escorted out by a Navy ship Gajabua and he was taken to the Trincomalee dock at the naval base. And the day before yesterday morning, he was taken to the Air Force base at the international airport. But Air Force yesterday in a statement said the president is not with us. But today what we are hearing that it was the Air Force jet which was used to escort president with his family and the certain close officials from the government, and he has been finally landed to Male, which is the capital of Maldives. All eyes are on whether he is going to send the resignation today. But if it doesn't happen, perhaps the situation will escalate back here in Colombo. But since there of course will be a sense of rejoice once this news spreads out across Sri Lanka, the president has fled, and of course now there will be a new there will be change of guard here back in Sri Lanka, as the people have been wanting for many months. The Rajapaksa family must resign. There should be a new government. Akshita.
Any details, Ashutosh, about how Gotabaya Rajapaksa left? Because as you pointed out, when his younger brother did try to leave, when Basil Rajapaksa tried to leave, there was a clear message that went out from officials, from the immigration staff at the Colombo International Airport, saying they will not cooperate. But in this case, it looks like there was no sort of hiccups or hurdles that Gotabaya Rajapaksa faced. Particularly, it looks because he seems to have got that assured safe passage out.
Well, this clearly seems that negotiation worked. Only last evening, when he sent this negotiation, the message to the opponents, because he knows that now there will be all-party government, including the opposition members. And the only condition that he put was to give me safe passage with my family. Once I leave the country safely, the resignation will follow. That seems to be working, and perhaps the entire system, including the Air Force, Army, of course, they do realize that who's going to come in the power, and that perhaps seems to be one method that worked out. He was given a safe passage, as seems even without the immigration process, President fled. And that was a Air Force jet. What we are hearing, that AN-32 plane was used, Air Force jet, which landed at around 11 p.m. There is some confusion, could be between the timing, but what we are hearing, between 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. when the jet landed at Maldives. And there was security escort cover provided by Maldives government from Malé International Airport to a safe house where the president has gone at the moment. And since he continued to be the president, of course, there could be possibility of the such protocol being provided by the neighboring country, Maldives. Of course, there is no still confirmation or announcement by the Maldivian authority whether the president has landed here, but that's a strong news coming here. The president indeed left. He was at the Air Force base. Remember, last evening there was clear denial from the Air Force. The president is not with them at the Air Force base, but since within just couple of hours he fled to the country, it is a matter of just couple of hour journey from Colombo to Maldives, and finally he landed here. And now everyone is waiting whether he's gonna send his resignation to the Chief Justice via email from Malé, and there will follow the suit whether it will be sent to the Speaker, because today is the crucial day in Colombo, because all it depends on only on the resignation.
What does it mean, Ashutosh? What's expected in the next 24 hours within Sri Lanka? If Gotabaya Rajapaksa submits his resignation, what next for all of these civilians, who've been holding this truly organic protest at the presidential palace? Are they going to be clearing out of the palace as soon as he resigns?
Since there was already appeal made by the Bar Council of Sri Lanka asking protesters to vacate these institutions, because if there is a change in the regime, these palaces will be handed over to the authority. So that is one appeal being made. But we are also saying that in last 48 hours, there is some discipline amongst the protesters. They are marking navigations, asking people and the visitors who are coming out, do not damage, do not touch these public properties, as they believe it is their own, the national property. So clearly what it seems, once the resignation comes, it will be forwarded via Chief Justice to the Speaker. Speaker will convey to the Parliament that President has resigned, and automatically under the 40th schedule of the Constitution of Sri Lanka, the Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe himself, and automatically there will be a transition of power, and he will be the interim president. And on 19th July, when all the nominations for the presidential elections will be filed, and on 20th July there will be voting in the Parliament. All member of parliaments will elect a new president. At the moment, what we are hearing, the SLPP, the ruling party, is likely to announce Speaker as a Jayawardene as a next interim president for 6 months. At the same time, the opposition has also agreed almost to support him only if the leader of opposition, Sajid Premadasa, is made a Prime Minister of Sri Lanka. So these negotiations are still underway, and these transition will only happen after the the resignation from the president. But what we are also hearing, if president refuses to resign, and since there is a transition of power, since there is a churning already happening across the island, clearly the opposition and ruling party SLPP member can approach to the CGI to sack the president. That could be a one provision, but all are waiting only because this day was announced by the president himself. A message was conveyed to the speaker and the prime minister the Wednesday he gonna resign. So everyone is just waiting for a right time whether and to establish one communication. Of course, speaker office will also establish a communication to the president. If he resigns, there will be all these legal constitutional process will be followed, and if that does happen, that seems to be that everyone gonna appeal to the Supreme Court, and then the top court will have to intervene.
Okay, Ashutosh, thank you for getting us all of those details. The Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has now left the island. He's made his way to Maldives. Reportedly, he's based in Malé now. Along with him, several of his family members, some staff members were also given safe passage out. All of this essentially setting the stage for Gotabaya Rajapaksa to officially and formally resign as the Prime Minister. Demand that protesters, that civilians have been putting forth for the last many days. So today is perhaps going to be the most crucial day as far as the Sri Lankan crisis is concerned.